We are so pleased to welcome the Governor for the State of the Commonwealth. The joint convention will now come to order. And Maura Healey, the Governor of the Great Commonwealth, to deliver the State of the Commonwealth Address.
Thank you very much. Okay. Good evening. Good evening, Massachusetts. Let me Thank you. Let me start with something that's on our minds, all of our minds right now. Let's go Patriots, right? Let's go Patriots. I think it's okay. We got a lot of snow coming. I think it's okay. They're in Denver. It's going to be great. We're going to have a great week here. Senate President Spill Hogan, Speaker Mariano, who I know is watching at home tonight, Leader Tarr, Leader Jones, and everyone in this legislature, thank you for our work together. We also have some empty seats tonight in the chamber, and tonight I want to remember special people we lost just this year, Senator Ed Kennedy and Representative Ann Margaret Ferrante, folks who are great public servants who served with passion and dedication, and they will be missed. Thank you. Thank you to our constitutional officers, members of the judiciary, and governors, counselors. Thank you to the former governors who are joining us here tonight, Governor Weld and Governor Michael Dukakis. Mayor Wu and all of our mayors and local officials, we see you. Look, you know, you're always going to have a partner in the Healey-Driscoll administration. And speaking of Driscoll, let's hear it for our Lieutenant Governor. Kim, let me say something. But this is important. Listen, Kim Driscoll is the best teammate anyone could have in government. And I hear she's pretty good on the pickleball court as well. Let's hear it for all our friends in labor who are working to keep the Commonwealth running every single day. And let's hear it for our business community, the innovators, the researchers, the entrepreneurs who help create the jobs and power our economy. in a time when so many people are feeling anxiety, fear, and uncertainty, they're turning to God and churches and temples and houses of worship. And I want to thank the faith leaders for all that they provide and comfort in this time. Thank you. I'm gonna go. Okay. Joanna and our families, thank you for your love and support. Members of our military, veterans, and Gold Star families, everything we have, everything we do is possible. This year, America celebrates a milestone, 250 years since our founding. Well, Massachusetts, that story, Massachusetts put everything they knew on the line and stood up to fight for what they tavern owners. They stood with fear and uncertainty, but with and they set in motion a revolution that gave us our country and changed the world. Today, all across America, all across Massachusetts, we walk in their footsteps. We're on town greens where the militia drilled. We vote in meeting houses where democracy found its voice. Massachusetts has led the way for freedom and progress in this country. It's more than our history. It's who we are. It's our DNA. And that's why I'm so proud to be your governor. It's because of the people and the spirit that I see in this state. I see it everywhere I go, in schools, hospitals, at senior centers, and food pantries. The people of Massachusetts are tough, care about each other. And in this moment, who we are has never been more important. Let me start with what's happening. The reality is that these are feeling it. Everything's more expensive. Groceries, a cup of coffee, the new coat or boots you want, the hot water heater that you need, sports fees for your kids, dinner out once in a while. It's all so much harder now. I want you to know I get it. I think back growing up, I watched my grandmother cut coupons. I saw my mom late at night at the kitchen table with a stack of bills, worried sick about how she was going to pay them. But then you had a sense that if you worked hard, things were going to be okay. Right now, it doesn't feel that way. Fixing that and lowering costs should be the focus of every elected official in America. It's certainly mine. And Washington's only making things worse. We have a president who throws temper tantrums like a 2-year-old. No disrespect to 2-year-olds. He's driving up costs and prices with tariffs. He's cutting trillions of dollars out of health care, and Congress can't seem to do anything. Meanwhile, our seniors have to worry about food and heat. Veterans worried about their services getting cut off. LGBT families worried about their kids being targeted or bullied at school. The Trump administration right now is sending masked agents by the thousands into cities and states, across America. A woman is dead, others have been shot, innocent people detained, mothers and fathers ripped out of their cars with their young kids tugging at their sides. Here in Massachusetts, we saw a high school student on the way to volleyball practice arrested. A college student going home to Texas for Thanksgiving, deported to Honduras, a country she hasn't lived in since she was a little kid. Now we have parents, of course, afraid to send their kids to school or to go to church or to see a doctor. This isn't right. I was a prosecutor and attorney general, and I can tell you, none of this makes us safer. It doesn't need to be this way. It needs to stop. Enough is enough. Look, people are feeling the fear and the heartache and the anguish. They see the chaos coming out of Washington every day. They're worried about their families, their job, their health care, their rights. But I have a message. This is Massachusetts. We look out for each other. We stand for what we believe, and we will not change who we are ever. Let me tell you something about where we are and how we've handled things. Let me show you how Massachusetts has shown up in this challenging time. Remember when the federal government tried to take away vaccines? We wrote a vaccine prescription for everyone, and we had insurance pay for it. So now in Massachusetts, if you want a vaccine, you'll get one for free. When they cut research and took away hope, blocking cures for cancer, diabetes, and Alzheimer's, I said, no, we're going to put more dollars into science and research. People across the world have been saved by Massachusetts science, and that won't stop. While the president is raising costs on everything with tariffs, we work together with the legislature to cut taxes for middle-class families, make community college cost-free, and make school meals available to every child in the state. And we're focused every day on driving down costs for. When they took away abortion care, we stepped in and made sure that Planned Parenthood, and we passed the strongest protections in the country for patients and doctors and nurses who need that care. I'll never back down on your right to make your own health care decisions. And when Donald Trump froze SNAP benefits, taking food away from children and seniors, boy, did Massachusetts show up. We raised $7 million for food pantries. State stepped up to help. Max and Chelsea Ritzy are here tonight. They run a restaurant in Watertown. They opened up their hearts, their kitchen, and they provided dinners for all their friends and neighbors. Thank you, Max and Chelsea, and thank you to everybody who took time to care for one another. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I want you to know that this year, my budget's going to increase funding for local food banks. We're making sure that people on the STAT program get the benefits that they need. We're not going to let anyone go hungry in Massachusetts. That's what we did, because that's today, while some turn their backs on liberty, Massachusetts stays free. In the face of efforts to divide us, Massachusetts stands united. And because we stay true to who we are, I can tell you tonight that the state of the Commonwealth is strong. You knew I was going to say that. I want you to know, I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. Look, I know we don't agree on everything. I'm looking out at you and I see a lot of people who don't agree with me on any number of things, okay? But I know that there are things that we all believe in, that we can all get behind. And now's the time to rally, unite, and get it done. We can work together. We can work together. And in this moment, part of my job as governor is to help us provide what the federal government isn't: stability, security, and how about a little common sense? My focus is you, what matters in your life. It starts with lowering costs and making life more affordable, making our schools even better for our kids, driving a strong economy that creates good jobs in every part of the state, making sure that you have safe neighborhoods, transportation you can count on, and health care that you can actually afford. So tonight, I want to share with you our next steps. It starts with housing. It's got to, because we've got to be a state where your teachers and your nurses and recent grads can afford to actually live. Now, here's what's happened. Look, if we want to take a hard look back and be honest with ourselves, here's what's happened, Massachusetts. The problem is we really haven't been building homes in a big way since the 90s. That's why prices and rents are so high. By the way, a lot of people have come here because it's such a great state since then. But there aren't enough homes around and available to meet the demand. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to build more and build faster. Here's how we're going to do it. This year, we've been speeding things up already. You know, it used to take a year, over a year, to get an environmental approval for a housing project. We took that down to 30 days. We've got hundreds of acres of state property with abandoned or not used courthouses, hospitals, state offices, right? So we're going to take that land and turn it into homes. Since COVID, remote work is happening, and cities have empty office space downtown. So we're turning them into apartments. And you want to know one of the quickest ways we're bringing homes online? Think about your garage, or if you got a little room out in your backyard. We've now given you the right to go out and build a place for your parent, or maybe your kid who just graduated. They're called accessory dwelling units, ADUs. And they're beautiful. And I'll tell you what, in a matter of weeks, you'll be able to go online, download your ADU design of choice, and we're even going to hook you up with a way to finance that construction at a low cost. How about that? Now, experts said that we had to build about 220,000 homes by 2035. I'm telling you right now, we're not just going to meet that, we're going to beat it. We have already, in 3 years, got 100,000 new homes going, built, permitted, or under construction, and more are on the way. Now, I know we got to be quick on this. Everybody's got to lean in. People are counting on it. Our economy is depending on it. I know Massachusetts, together we can get this done. Now, while we build these homes, we've also got to help people afford their mortgages and their rents right now. For renters, we ban brokers' fees, saving thousands of dollars every time you move. We doubled the support we give seniors to help them with their housing costs. And for families, we all know that buying that first home is one of the toughest challenges you'll face. So we're doing more to help. Tonight, we're expanding a program that gives families $25,000 for a down payment on a home. We're expanding that. And on top of that, we're expanding another program that lowers your interest rates and saves you a ton of money over the life of your loan. That's real money, and it makes a real difference. So for the thousands of families out there right now looking for housing, looking for that first home, help is on the way. Now I want to talk about energy. Bills are too high. Bills are way too high. People can't afford it. They're getting killed. They're getting crushed. I get that. I understand that. And I want you to know I am focused on that. Here's our plan. First of all, I'm going to oppose any big rate hike proposed by the utilities, okay? We're going to oppose that. It's not the time. People can't afford it. People can't afford it. That's number one. I filed an energy affordability bill, and that bill will get us more power, get costs down, and save ratepayers $13 billion. You see, our strategy, my strategy, is we need all of the above when it comes to energy. Wind, solar, hydro, gas, nuclear, whatever it takes to power our homes and our businesses and cut your costs. And I want you to know, because I know the pain that's out there, okay? I want people to know last week, good news, we flipped the switch on a hydroelectric line that right now is providing power to Massachusetts. It's coming from Canada, and it's going to provide 20% of the electricity needs in Massachusetts. It's also going to save us about $50 million. We can do this stuff, but we're going to do more. We're going to do more. This year, we're going to go hard and deploy more solar, more wind, more transmission, more battery storage so that we have the energy that we need and so that costs can come down. And I want to thank all the workers that are making that happen, building out all this stuff, electricians, carpenters, iron workers, painters, engineers, teamsters, and more. You got a lot of work to do, a lot of work ahead of you, but together we're going to get this done. My legislation not only gets us more power, it gets it cheaper. Did you know that utilities aren't required to purchase power at the lowest price? It's crazy. So my bill changes that. It makes it so that utilities got to go out and purchase that energy at the lowest price. If it works for Wall Street, it damn well better work for ratepayers. We got to make that change. That's going to provide savings to ratepayers, lower your bills. Now, speaking of bills, there are a lot of charges. There are a lot of fees on our bills, aren't there? We see them. They got added piece by piece over many years. We're the administration that's taking them off. I've directed the utilities to justify every single line that's on your bill. Anything that's not helping you, we'll strike it. Folks, I just told you some things we're going to do, and we are going to do them. But I also know people need help now. It's January. We're heading into February and March, the coldest months of the year. So tonight, I'm announcing that in February and March, we'll cut your electric bills by 25% and your gas bills by 10%. Look. We're going to do it. Middle-class families need the breathing room. Everybody needs the breathing room, and they're going to get it. Now I want to talk about health care, okay? I don't know about you. It's really hard to get an appointment. Primary care, mental health, you name it. We also know it's incredibly expensive. Premiums have gone through the roof for people, for families, for businesses. But we're going to take action, and we are taking action here in Massachusetts. Last year, I was the first governor here to cap deductibles and copays. And then Donald Trump and the Republicans in Washington made premiums skyrocket and threatened people's coverage. Remember that debate over the last few months? Imagine you're in the middle of a cancer treatment and you lose your health insurance. I'm proud of this legislature because years ago we worked to make sure that people would be covered. So in the face of those threats, we, Massachusetts, were able to make the biggest commitment in the country to keep people's costs down and to keep them covered. 270,000 families. We took that action a month ago, and now 270,000 families and small business owners won't see a major spike in their bills. But we're not done. We're not done. How many of you have had this experience? You go in for something, your doctor tells you what's wrong, but whether you're prescribed medicine or a treatment, instead of getting that medicine or treatment, you gotta wait. What are you waiting for? You're waiting for some insurance company to tell you it's okay and that you're approved. This is bad. You lose days, weeks, sometimes months of care. In the meantime, you're making new appointments, you're taking more time off from work. It costs you money and it delays your care. Up until now, if you were a diabetic, you had to get what's called a prior authorization for insulin. And you had to get a prior authorization for the insulin pump. That's crazy. So we're changing that. Starting this year, you won't need a prior authorization from any insurance company to get the care you need. No more paperwork, no more waiting. If your doctor says you need it, you're gonna get it. Next, we're going to nasty medical debt from being reported to credit agencies. It's bad enough. It's bad enough when you get a huge bill and you're dealing with an illness. But to have it wreck your credit on top of that, it's just not right. So we're not going to let that happen. And finally, I'm directing leaders from across all key sectors to come together to form a healthcare affordability working group. Healthcare is broken in America, and we can't wait for Washington to act. We're the state with the best healthcare. We're going to be the state to figure it out and fix it for our people. Now, high costs don't just come from inflation. It's not just housing and energy and health care. It's coming from all sides. Here's one. How about those streaming services and apps that we all love and sign up for? I don't know about you, but I look at my bank statement. It's $2.99 for this, $5.99 for this, $11.99 there. It all adds up, right? Month after month after month. They make it so easy to sign up, but so hard to cancel. Canceling a subscription should be just as easy as signing up. Let's make that a law in Massachusetts. That's real money. A.G. Campbell's done great work on the regulations to get us started. We got to work to make your good work the law. And we're not going to stop there. Speaking of fixing things, let's talk about transportation. You know, when I took office, the T was a disaster, and we're turning it around. That started when I appointed a GM who actually knew what he was doing. And with Phil Eng on the job, the service and the vibes. All right. Yeah, Phil. Phil, we've gone from 220 slow zones down to 0. That's saving commuters time and money. We also made regional buses free statewide, added new ferry routes, and opened up 2 new lines on the commuter rail down to the South Coast. And we're just getting started. This year, we've got more trains running more frequently, and also we've expanded service at night and on the weekends. That's good stuff. And the pedal is to the metal, I promise you. And then, don't clap yet. And then there's traffic, okay? I'm sick of it. We're all sick of it. We sit on 93, 128, the Pike. Sometimes we drive miles around somewhere because a local bridge is closed and has been closed for 10 years. We fixed the slow zones on the T. We can fix these pinch points that cause congestion on our highways. I'm committed to that. Now, imagine the time back we'll get in our lives. And we've got, thanks to the legislature, an $8 billion plan to fix our broken transportation system. I want to tell you, I'm announcing tonight that we've got a program, ABC, Accelerating Bridge Construction. It's going to open up closed bridges and make repairs faster so people can get moving again. And we're going to do that all over the state. 27 bridges in Western Massachusetts alone. I've challenged my team to move as quickly as they can on all of this. How we get around and how quickly we get around or don't matters. It matters to people in their lives. It matters to our economy. We got to get this done, Massachusetts, and my team is committed to doing that. Now, here's something cool when we're talking about transportation. Earlier this year, we unveiled the brand new Bill Russell Bridge right down the street in Boston. Yeah? This year, we're going to honor another Celtics legend when we dedicate the new Bob Cousy Pass in his hometown of Worcester. Coos, I know you're watching tonight. I love you, and I can't wait to come out and take a ride together over that pass. Now let's talk about our economy. It's true, we're facing real headwinds. And as I said, we're looking at all the different ways to address them. We're trying really hard. There's certain things, folks, we know are beyond our control. We can't control inflation, but there are things that we can control. And I also want to say this. We have assets that any other state would trade for in a heartbeat. We got to remember that. Remember, Massachusetts, right now, we lead the country in education, in healthcare, innovation, in science. Oh, in championship sports teams, too, and maybe we'll get another parade going shortly. We also lead in arts and culture and kick-ass musicians. We're joined tonight by Ken Casey, who is the Massachusetts Storyteller of the Year and the Dropkicks Murphys legend. We love you, Ken. Thank you for always standing up for what you believe in. Thank you for standing up for working people. Ultimately, though, the resource that really matters most is our talent, our people. And that's why, when it comes to competing for jobs, my bet is always going to be on this state. Hasbro and Lego agreed. They moved their headquarters here. So did Alnylam, a global leader in life-saving gene therapies. They started at UMass Medical School, and now they've just built a brand new facility down in Norton, all built with good union jobs. And then there's Transmedics. This company's unbelievable. They've pioneered a way to deliver organ transplants at record speeds around the country. They turned down New Hampshire, and they decided to grow right here in Massachusetts. Now, can you feel my juices going? Yeah. You guys know Kim and I are a little competitive, okay? We're competitive, and we are so grateful to all of our employers, and we're working every day as partners to compete for those jobs and to bring business here. Right now, we're going toe-to-toe not just with other states, but with other countries. And I want to promise you, we're going to go hard. We're not backing down. We're going to invest in the things that have brought us success, investing in economic engines in our state, research and science driven through the DRIVE Act, defense technology, quantum and AI partnerships, climate tech. There's so much to do and to take advantage of. We're supporting our entrepreneurs who we depend on for leadership and innovation. There's a reason, Massachusetts, that people come from all over the world to study here, to train here, to invest here, to start companies here. There's a reason, Massachusetts, we're a special place. We're going to lean into what's working, and we're going to lean into all the new things that we can take advantage of with the special talent and assets that we have here. And we're supporting our small businesses. Small businesses mean a lot to me. They mean a lot to a lot of families across our great state. This year, we cut 25% of business regulations to lower their costs, to make it easier for them to do what they do best, and we're just getting started. We want to make sure as we move forward and grow our economy here that everyone's able to benefit. These aren't just jobs in labs and offices. They're on construction sites and in classrooms, on factory floors. And we're opening these jobs up to people through apprenticeships. Apprenticeships, paid, hands-on training, and a direct path to a great career. Thanks, by the way, to the labor movement for creating this. We're going to invest in this. We're going to invest in this. We're going to invest in this. And over the next 10 years, we're going to have 100,000 apprentices. Yes, they'll be in the building trades, but also in nursing, early ed, advanced manufacturing, technology, whatever it takes, wherever talent is needed. We'll get more people into great careers and a workforce that meets the needs of our businesses. For me, that kind of growth, it starts with education. No state has done more. Massachusetts schools, for the first time in 8 years, are now ranked #1 in the national report card across all categories. Let me say that again. All categories, #1. But this go. But as we applaud, I want you to know we're not resting. 2 years ago, I said we'd have universal pre-K in every gateway city. I said we'd do that by the end of 2026. You know what? We're going to do that ahead of schedule. We've also added 20,000 more child care seats. That's a big deal for those little kids who need care and a big deal for their parents who can go to work. We know our kids struggled through COVID, right? We know that there are some things that we got to account for, make up for. And that's why we're making big investments in literacy and high-dose tutoring to close those gaps. And it's going to happen. This year, we're also going to have the best statewide high school graduation standard in the country. You know what it's also going to include? Financial literacy. Yeah. Look. We're going to. I'm glad we care about our kids, we care about education, and we will make sure that every student is ready to succeed, whether they're off to college, a career, a trade, or the military. I promise you, we're going to get that done. Thanks to the investments that we've made already, thousands of students took advantage of college or vocational pathways just this school year alone. We know that our early college program, which allows you to be in high school and take community college credits at the same time, has been an incredible opportunity for our kids. I was at a graduation ceremony back last year where a student was receiving their high school diploma and their associate's degree at the same time. How cool is that? So we want to lean into that opportunity. And I'm telling you tonight that I've set a target, 100,000 students in early college within the next 10 years in Massachusetts. We're going to help our kids reach their goals and save them money. Now, let me speak to you as someone who's got 2 teenagers at home. Something we all worry about is social media. Look, you, me, we all do our scrolling, right? TikTok, Insta, whatever floats your boat. And that's fun. And there's a time and a place for these things, right? Especially for our kids. It's driving so much anxiety. It's impacting self-esteem. These platforms, let's be serious. These platforms are built with addictive algorithms They exploit our insecurities, especially our young people. So tonight, I'm proposing strict new requirements to protect our kids from the harms of social media, okay? Parental consent, age verification for all these platforms, and much more. We're going to require every company out there to take a hard look at this. We want to prevent social media companies from targeting our kids for profit. That's what's been going on all across this country. We got to change it here in Massachusetts. Parents, we're trying to protect our kids. We're trying to help our kids. We got to deal with this issue. Okay? We're a technology state. We love our technology. We invest in our technology. And we got to find a way to protect our kids. I know we can do it. Now, speaking of safety, there's no greater priority than keeping our people and our communities safe. In Massachusetts, we know how to do that. It's by supporting our state and local police. It's by partnering with them and building trust in communities. There's no question that we have the best law enforcement in the whole country. And we have the best first responders, too. Let me give you an example. One night in December, a Massachusetts State Police trooper responded to a difficult call. A man in distress had climbed to the top of the Tobin Bridge. Chelsea firefighters responded with a bucket truck. They lifted that trooper up. For 2 hours in the freezing cold, this trooper let that man who was suffering know that he wasn't alone. That trooper stayed with him, he talked with him, and ultimately he pulled them to safety. And I just want to thank Trooper Rasan Charles, who's with us tonight, for saving that man's life. Thank you for showing our law enforcement how appreciative we are. Also joining us tonight is Fall River Fire Chief Jeff Bacon. In July, our state suffered a terrible tragedy when the Gabriel House Assisted Living Facility caught fire. We pray for all those lost and injured on that day. We don't want anything like that to ever happen again. So we will implement new protections at all assisted living facilities in our state. I want to thank Chief Bacon, the firefighters, the police, the EMS who responded that night and saved lives. I want to thank you and all the firefighters for what you do to keep us safe every day. Speaking of heroes, we have a responsibility to our veterans. I took office after a terrible tragedy at the Holyoke Soldiers' Home during COVID. You remember 76 veterans who died? As AG, I investigated and prosecuted the people I thought were responsible. And when I became governor, I made it our mission to turn those veterans' homes around. We have. Now, both Chelsea and Holyoke are rebuilt, fully accredited and world-class, and I'm proud to say that Holyoke has achieved a perfect rating from the VA and is now one of the best veterans' homes in America. That's what our veterans deserve. what our veterans deserve. On the wall in my office, I have a portrait of a former governor, Samuel Adams. He and Paul Revere laid the cornerstone of this very building. But 20 years before that, none of this or American democracy was assured. January 24th, 1776, 250 years ago this Saturday, with Boston under armed siege and morale in some quarters wavering. On that day, Sam Adams wrote to a friend. "Never despair," he wrote. "That is a motto for you and me. All are not dead, and where there is a spark and a patriotic fire, we will rekindle it." And that's what they did, town by town across Massachusetts, lighting the way to a new nation. Never despair. That's a good motto for this moment. That's a good message right now. Because the year ahead is going to bring challenges, no doubt. It may get worse before it gets better. Okay? I'm being honest with you. But we will stand strong. We will work to do the right things. We together will make the right decisions for our state. We'll do what we have to do to make it better, and it will. I promise you, it will get better. We're going to lead. We're going to lead. We're going to lead celebrations of America's birthday this year with spectacular fireworks on the 4th. The World Cup will be here. The tall ships are coming back. People from all around the world are coming to and will be inspired by Massachusetts. But they won't be looking at Sam Adams or Paul Revere. They'll be looking at you. They'll be looking at us. As our nation faces new tests, Massachusetts will lead again as a place where everyone can be safe and have their rights protected, where if you work hard, you can afford to live, and people for learning, innovation, opportunity, and freedom. That's what we work for. That's what America needs at this moment. So once again, let it begin in Massachusetts. Let's kindle those sparks. Let's light the beacon and show the way forward. God bless you. God bless the great Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And God bless.
I will now ask Rabbi Elaine Zecher, Senior Rabbi at Temple Israel, Boston, to come up to the podium, the rostrum please, to offer our benediction for the evening. Rabbi.
A blessing for the search of true kindness. Holy One of blessing, your presence fills all creation. We stand before you, we who are divinely inspired, yet human-powered, in pursuit.
No cough, you got a cough, go in there, lock the door, figure it out, walk outside.
Watch that cord, watch that cord.
He beats you, we're good.
No water bottles.
Can you plug him on?
I'm
Do you want to walk over the live stream, or do you want to be live and stand there? Walk in. Walk in?
We can hit it live. Yeah.
Go in my office, we'll just fly off, walk in.
Haley, just give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go. Actually, I'll just go right. Want me to go right at 8?
The student's ready.
Okay.
Just push him live.
Right now?
Live.
Okay.
You give us a signal, walk in, and you're good. We're ready.
All right.
Good evening, Massachusetts. My name is Ken Sweezy, and I proudly serve as the state representative for the 6th Plymouth District. Now, what we have just heard over the course of the last hour would at best be called a collection of half-truths and a misrepresentation of the governor's own record. Now, as expected, for all of the shortcomings that we do have here in the Commonwealth, the governor just wanted to point her finger down at Washington, to yell the president's name and blame the problems that she created on D.C. Let me be very clear to start. The biggest problems facing the Commonwealth of Massachusetts were created right here at home. This administration has created an environment that has violated the public trust, lacked transparency and accountability, and I believe has even outright lied about its commitment to affordability. Now, the governor claimed that the Commonwealth is strong. Do you feel that? Do you feel that the state of the Commonwealth right now is strong? Let's look back at her record a little bit over the last 3 years. One of the things I am not surprised that she glossed over is the immigration issue that we have here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The right to shelter law needs a revision as we stand as the only state that has such an existing provision in the nation. We've seen, although it is true, that the Healey hotels have been closed, the problem is far from over. You see, in Massachusetts, we have another housing program, and it's called Home Base. Back in June of 2023, we had about 1,500 families in this Home Base program. As of the end of 2025, shortly after the governor's hotel shelters closed, her own Office of Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities admitted there was over 9,000 families in that program. If you remember when she offered modest reforms, she capped families at around 7,500. For anyone not so quick at math, we can see that the problem did not go away. The people are still here. They were shuffled from one program to the next and one budget line item to the next. This is billions of dollars that were spent and continue to be spent on this crisis, as we have offered, as a Republican caucus, some common sense reforms. And the money wasn't the only problem. We saw a slew of no-bid contracts given out around transportation and meals, as well as some unfortunate crime that was going on within the system. We saw gun possession, drug trafficking, and horrific crimes against children in state-run facilities on the governor's watch. And let me be clear once again, these statements are not an attack on any group of people or an indictment of those trying to run the shelters that were doing their best, but the reality of what we found in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And is it any surprise that this administration could allow this to happen when we have other such examples? If you recall the Apple Green Service Plaza debacle, the contract signed with the DOT that ended up with the secretary having to resign, and even most recently, a high-level government staffer being caught trafficking drugs out of the governor's Springfield office after the state police came back with a previous criminal record. And that individual was even paid a severance when terminated. This will certainly be a black mark in the history of the Commonwealth. And of course, most of all, where is the audit? Where is our audit? 72% of us. There are no 70-30 issues in politics anymore. They do not exist, and yet we had one. People want transparency. People want accountability. The governor, the attorney general, and one-party rule on Beacon Hill are stonewalling and blocking your voice. Something must change there. Now, the governor started her speech today by calling out to our local municipal officials. So I do the same thing here. She said that you will always have a partner in the Healey-Driscoll administration. Do you feel like they've been good partners? To my mayors, select board members, city councilors, anyone who's elected to town meeting, do you think that they're good partners? The numbers speak for themselves. Local aid has not kept up with inflation. The formulas are broken. Chapter 70 for your schools, Chapter 90 for our roads. Other unrestricted government aid is completely falling behind. Our municipalities are losing police officers, firefighters, teachers, paras, special educators, other municipal employees, and services. That is preventable. It does not have to be this way. That is by the priorities on Beacon Hill not being aligned. How many of you have been to a city council meeting or an open town meeting and they're talking about budget cuts? And maybe a young mother goes up and is advocating for her child's education, wanting to make sure that her children will have the ability to have their teachers in the classroom, keep the paras, have fully funded special education. That's all they want, is a fair shot to start out life. And the very next person that comes up might be an elderly couple who's really worried about losing their home. A home that they may have bought decades ago for just tens of thousands of dollars, now assessed in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, where their property taxes are essentially an unrealized gain tax that they cannot afford. No one is wrong in that situation, and yet you see neighbor against neighbor tearing themselves apart at town meetings over this seemingly dichotomous decision. It doesn't have to be that way, because no one is to blame except for the governor and one-party rule on Beacon Hill, because they are worried more about their wants instead of their needs. The governor spent time talking about canceling streaming services instead of talking about how we're going to fund our schools. And now it was no surprise to me that she didn't want to bring up her supposed solution to this problem, what she's calling the Municipal Empowerment Act. That sounds great, but all this act does is increase your taxes. The Municipal Empowerment Act would increase your meals tax by over 33%, your hotel tax by over 16%, and nearly double your excise tax. Who can afford that right now? She wanted to brag about cutting taxes 3 years ago, but just in this most recent budget cycle was trying to raise your taxes. She offered in her budget version an opportunity to tax children's candy, to tax your cable box, and most horrifically of all, a surtax on top of pharmaceuticals that would disproportionately affect the elderly, those with disabilities, and those with serious health conditions. That's why the Municipal Empowerment Act would be more aptly called the Pass the Buck Act, because that is exactly what the governor wants to do, is void the responsibility on herself and pass the buck down to your locally elected officials, often volunteers, and allow neighbor to fight against neighbor. My idea for the Municipal Empowerment Act, which I will offer amendments for, would be to empower our communities to say no to overarching mandates like the MBTA Communities Act. Allow the self-determination of our cities and towns. I would not allow the state to sue our towns into compliance, using your tax dollars, forcing your town to then use your tax dollars to defend itself. Only in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts could such nonsense exist. We could empower our towns by not forcing them to zone for large-scale battery energy storage systems that she also started discussing this evening. Ones that have been zoned in residential areas and can catch fire and have extreme environmental harms. My Municipal Empowerment Act would fully fund special education and not put that burden on our schools. It would fully fund Chapter 90 to make sure we're not hitting potholes after every winter. And it would make sure that our towns have a seat at the table. Left, right, or center, as a locally elected official, you know change has to happen. And the biggest crisis of all, a word that the governor likes to talk about but not act on, and that is our affordability crisis. It's not just income taxes, it's not just the property taxes, it's our utility bills, which she wanted to spend a lot of time discussing this evening with her new plan, her big announcement this evening, cutting electric bills by 25% and gas bills by 10%. Let's dig into that plan a little bit. On the electric side, 40% of that, 10 out of the 25, is just a payment deferred program. You will be paying that bill in the future, this summer. The rest of the money that they're making up is coming from the state. The state doesn't print money. The state collects money from you. So everything that they're doing to lower your bills, you have already paid for or will pay for in the future. This is not a bill savings. They're deferring your payments from your previous taxes or with interest in the future. Because right now, did you know that nearly 20% of your gas bill is just public policy? It doesn't have to be there. If they were serious, if the governor and Beacon Hill were serious about lowering your utility bills, they could do so tomorrow. That we would pass and sign a bill that could strip away all. And she talked about taking away unnecessary fees. Well, Governor, in my view, right now, when my constituents are hurting, they're all unnecessary. Now, the reason this is happening is because leadership on Beacon Hill refuses to have a hard conversation. Conversation of the reality on the ground is that our 2050 mandates are untenable, and the benchmarks for 2030 are already so far off pace that they are impossible to reach. We must understand that some of this untested so-called green technology and these net zero mandates are antithetical to affordability. We must understand that, and the adults in the room have to have that conversation. I remember when the Democratic Party used to be the party of environmentalism and conservation, but no more. They do not look out for our environment. They look out for these large international so-called green energy companies that are jamming offshore wind into our oceans, that destroy the ecosystem, wreak havoc on our historic fisheries. They support large-scale battery companies that, again, go into residential neighborhoods, and if a fire occurred, would cause extreme damage. And worst of all, this governor tries to backpedal after bragging about killing 2 natural gas pipelines coming into the state of Massachusetts. There is no cheaper or more efficient energy that we could bring online right now than that. That is on you, Governor. That doesn't sound like an all-the-above strategy to me. Now, I'll begin my closing with one more question. Do you believe that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is on the right track? Do you think that these issues that have been caused by one-party rule on Beacon Hill, do you think you're better off than you were 3 years ago? I think the answer is very clear. But the best news here, because it's not all doom and gloom, is that it's 2026 and it's an election year. And the governor is back on the ballot, and so are many other state offices. And we have the opportunity for change. Because no matter how bad it gets, we cannot allow the cynicism or hopelessness or apathy to cloud our minds, lest we continue down the treacherous path that we are on today. So once again, we have an opportunity for change, and we must see that these problems are truly local. To everybody out there listening this evening across this great Commonwealth, our local votes for select board, for state rep, for state senate, all the way up to the governor, cannot merely be used as a protest vote against the federal government. Good, bad, indifferent, these votes matter, and there are solutions to our local problems. I thank you for joining me tonight. I look forward to seeing you at the polls in November. May God bless you, your family, and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.